Hi guys, here we go. Third video, we can do this. Adding and subtracting with scientific notation. This skill is actually going to be a lot easier than you think. Now, technically, you can make it a little bit more complicated, which might end up making on the back end it easier to simplify, but in all reality, you don't necessarily have to do what you don't necessarily have to do that. The biggest thing is we have two numbers, and those two numbers are written in scientific notation, and therefore they may have different orders of magnitude on that 10, on that multiplication of 10. So if I look at this, 4 times 4.36 times 10 to the third power is a bigger number than 2.68 times 10 to the second power. So if I were to write these out, I have technically 1, 2, 3. I have 4,360 minus 1, 2, because this is an order of 2, 268. And I'm doing this math here, technically, when I'm looking at all this. Now, you can make this a little bit different, and you can look at this in terms of getting them both in the same order of magnitude. So you can do the basic math like this. You can turn it into standard form, do the math, and turn it back into scientific notation. Or you could write these both in the same order of magnitude. And when you look at that, I highly recommend you look at the bigger of the two numbers and write them both in the order of magnitude that the bigger one is in. So 4.36 times 10 to the third power, I'm going to leave that as 4.36 times 10 to the third power, but I'm going to rewrite this 2.68 times 10 to the second power, and I'm going to add one more to my tens over here. So I'd rewrite this as 0.268 times 10 to the third power. Once you have the same order of magnitude, you can do the math here. I have 4.36 minus 0.268, and I can do the subtraction there, and I can do it fairly easily. So I'm going to add a 0 up above so I can actually subtract properly. So I can't subtract this, so this becomes a 5. This becomes 2, so 15, which then really becomes 14. Oh, no, I already did that. So 15, because this is already a 10. There we go. So 10, and I get 2, 9, 2 minus 2 is 0.4. So now I have it written down 4.092 times 10 to the third, and I now don't have to put it into scientific notation. Now I could just basically do this math. 4,360 minus 268. I'd get the same value over here of 4,092, but then I'd need to finish my answer up and write it in scientific notation. So I'd want to rewrite this in scientific notation by saying 4.092, moved it over 3 place values, so times 10 to the third. I'd have to do that work. So you can do this two different ways. One being you can take your values in scientific notation and turn them into standard form and do the math and re-put them into scientific notation. Or you can look at your two values that you have and put them in the same order of magnitude and do the math that way and keep it in scientific notation already. So now let's look at this one. Ooh, I think this was to the second power. Let me look. No, to the first power. All right, here we go. So now we're looking at this one, 5.68 times 10 to the negative third power plus 3.13 times 10 to the first power. We're going to do this math. And if I look at this, again, we're not in the same order of magnitude. So let's get it in the same order of magnitude. This is my larger of my two numbers because I have a smaller order of magnitude than this one. -3 is going to say this is a smaller number versus this. So I'm going to rewrite this one as if it has a -1 on there. It means I'm moving this over 2 orders of magnitude, which means I'm multiplying it by 10 2 times. So I really have 0.0568 times 10 to the negative first plus 3.13 times 10 to the negative first. And now when I look at it, the only number that will end up adding together is the 3 and the 5, which actually means that I have a lot less work to do than I thought I would. So 3.13 plus 0.0568, if I added those together, I get 3.13 or 3.1868. That equals my final answer, 3.1868 times 10 to the negative third. Done. Oh, sorry, 10 to the negative first. Goodness sakes, I'm sure you're shouting through the screen. This one should say 1 on it, and that should say 1 on it. 10 to the negative first is now both of these numbers added together using that order of magnitude concept. Again, you can turn these into standard form if you want. You could look at 5.68 times 10 to the negative third and actually write 0.00568 and add it to 0.313 and add those two things together and put them back into scientific notation. However, you can also take a little bit of a shortcut and look at just the orders of magnitude. All right, one more video after this. Thank you for watching, and then you'll be done. You're so close. Thank you. Bye.